This is fantastic pains and how we hide them.
That it is. I don't hide them that well anymore.
I know. How we used to hide them. How we function in society,
Yeah.
and then people get mad at us because we are actually a disaster.
What's your name?
Well, I'm Karina.
I'm not. My name is Chris, and I'm also here. And
We are
really
here.
close to the mic.
Just get right up in there.
Why are we here?
Well, I think we're here to kind of just explain what life with EDS is like.
Yeah, what's EDS?
EDS is Ehlers Danlos syndrome. We have
Very fancy.
what is called type 3 or hypermobility.
Is it still type 3? I thought they got rid of the
I think
types.
it's type... Well, a lot of people know it is type 3 still.
Yeah.
So I still throw it in there.
Yeah, we're hypermobile.
Hypermobile Ehlers Danlos
And
syndrome.
our grandfather thinks we have vascular, but I don't buy it.
I don't think so. I talked to the neurologist about the exploding veins, and he was like, that's just an EDS thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool.
Well, and stretching out and feeling your veins stretch, like, as I do it, I'm like,
You're like, let me see them crawl.
if I just extend it more. Yeah. Oh,
And I get the problem where I like cramp them. And then my favorite is when they can't find a pulse.
Yeah.
That's my
you're in the wrong
absolute,
spot.
that's the funniest thing I have ever seen
That's
anybody
why I always
go
check my
through.
neck, but then they say don't do that. It's bad for you. If you have a clot, then you're just going to make it worse.
You're like, I'll just die. It's fine. So let's talk a little bit more about what Ehlers Danlos is.
EDS.
EDS. EDS. We got the EDS.
Means
Or the heads.
All your connective tissue is super stretchy, which means that all your joints suck and all your internals suck.
Yep. So collagen is what holds your body together as like the
theory.
glue,
Yes.
essentially. And our blueprint for collagen is trash. So when people say my least favorite piece of advice ever given, and I know you know what it is.
I hear it already
It's
in my
like,
head.
Here, take collagen supplements. Have you tried collagen supplements? Have you used collagen? Blah, blah, blah. And you're like,
It's not that we're not making collagen. We're making it wrong.
we're making really bad collagen.
Yeah.
It's like if you tried to build a skyscraper out of, like, I don't know, something like fondant.
Yeah.
Only fondant.
All the beams are fondant.
Everything is fondant.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty accurate.
Yep.
That's, yeah, that was the first thing my mom said when I explained it to her. She wasn't being derpy,
Well,
though.
it's because
She's like,
people don't know.
Right.
And they're like, oh, it's a collagen problem.
she said I
Take
should get
more
collagen injections, which is
right,
like
and I've
lip
heard
filler.
that too.
It's like, oh, I
I'm
should.
like, that's not how that works.
My lips aren't big enough. I need bigger lips. You're right, Mom.
Gotta
Good
get the
call.
pout.
Jen
I don't
always
have
makes
that
fun of
problem.
my big lips. I hate it. I'm just gonna do
My
this
ex
from now
did,
on.
but in a like weird, gross, worshipy kind of way.
Ugh.
I was just like, stop it. Just,
Enough.
Ew,
You're
no.
done.
No more.
Yeah. So, like, what else is... I'm trying to think of all of the things that happen because of EDS that
Well, let's
suck.
start with the joints.
Yeah.
What happens with the joints?
Well, I dislocate like mad.
Yeah.
You dislocate like worse. I don't nearly... Well, I'm not as active either. If I was more active, I would probably...
Well, and we have, unfortunately, developed a really bad habit of not having any kind of self-preservation instinct. Mm-hmm. So...
We're so used to everything that there's no... Don't do that. It's just, oh, I can push through that. It's
yeah,
fine.
you're like, it's fine. 'Tis but a flesh wound.
Right.
So we wind up injuring ourselves a lot more than we probably think we do or know we do, and
Yeah.
makes life a
Well,
little
I'm
bit more
bipolar, so I get
interesting.
manic. And when I'm manic, I do stupid shit like rearrange the house
Yeah.
alone
And then
in
I
a day.
have ADHD, and when I hyperfocus, I do the same thing.
Yeah. So I get manic highs and you get manic focus.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
Oh, what a pair.
Or I get really angry at my own situation, and then I clean out of spite.
Oh, I do that all the time.
That's a really bad one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm angry, and laying down is not helping.
So I'm going to go do something.
I'm gonna go do something because forget it.
Yeah, and then when it hurts, it's like, whatever, I'm going to do it more.
You're like, good.
Yeah, exactly.
You deserve
A
this.
healthy response.
Right?
We're here to talk about healthy coping mechanisms, and this is definitely it. Welcome to the pain gain zone.
Well, there's another piece, is the chronic pain.
Yeah.
So what kind of pain do we...
I have chronic, what do I consider chronic? Like, because we have pains that come and go all the time.
Right.
Like random joints will decide for the next month that they hurt. Chronic for me is my back, but I had a tumor in my back,
Yeah.
which is related to EDS because it's neurofibromatosis 2, which our half brother has.
Yep. And this is all on our dad's side.
Yeah, everything's through dad.
Yep.
And then my hips, even though I just had surgery on the left, and you just had surgery on the left, mine still sucks. I hate it. And my knees. And now my shoulders are starting to come back.
No.
I'm starting.
Well, it's about that time.
Exactly. They're at the age where I need to do another cleanup.
So when we do surgeries, generally they tell us some places won't even do it because they're like, there's no point.
Yeah.
You're going to stretch it out again. But when they do it, they generally warn you that, like for me, they said the shoulder was going to be 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, that was the same range I got.
So, and they're like 8 at the very most if you're extremely lucky.
I'm coming up on 8.
And yeah.
Yeah, because I did my first shoulder when I was 27, so I'm at 8 if I turn. I'm not old.
You're not
Don't worry about it. Like if I turn a number I don't want to discuss, then yeah, it'll be around 3 to 8 years.
Yep.
Or exactly 8.
3 to 8 years. Exactly 8 years. Pillow guy.
Exactly.
Mind bullets.
But yeah, because, and I think my doctor would do it because he told me before, he's like,
yeah,
we're gonna have to do it again. But I also we didn't know it was EDS at the time, so he might go, oh.
Right, where they're like, oh, this is like a renewable surgery.
Renewable?
It's so weird.
Time
like, we need like a punch card.
Yeah.
For every surgery.
Well,
so I'm at 3, and you're at like, what, 7? 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And I still want to do the back implant.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if that's considered surgery.
I think it would be. They're going to have to put you out, aren't they?
Yeah, for the final. They do a test run for a week, and that kind of like stays on a belt that you have, and the wires go into your back. They do that like the injections. And then when they do the surgery, they go in and they install the thing into your back, the battery recharger.
So
and they knock
I
you
think
out.
it counts.
And then they wake you up. No, they do. They wake you up in the surgery and go,
like, can you feel all of these things?
What does it feel like? Is this too much? Is this too little? So that's what I want to do. Especially, I want to get the one that you can target zones. That would be the best.
That would be so cool.
I'm just worried that my insurance won't cover it.
Right.
You have to pay out of pocket because I want it. To be able to like gently buzz your knees and to not hurry. I would take that in a day.
Yeah. Like I'll use the TENS machine to like numb out an area.
Yeah. Just overwork it until you can't feel it.
Like now it's numb.
It's what it is. It's a TENS.
Yeah. Internalized TENS. Which is so cool.
Well, like I'll be more cyborg. Mm-hmm. I want joints that are cyborg, but they won't replace them. I'm too young.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other piece. Is hearing all the time, you're too young to have all those problems. And you're like, that's great, but I do.
I can't imagine what it would be like for kids. Because, there are people with hypermobile that get it, like, the bad symptoms early in life. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine the doctors just being like, you know what? You're still growing. We can't do anything.
Oh, right.
That would kill me.
No.
I'm lucky I found out at 27.
Right.
Oh, God. 8 years of doctors telling me that I was insane.
Yeah.
Like, no, there's nothing wrong. You're too young. Mm-hmm. We won't do imaging.
Years of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you had more years of it than I did.
Well, yeah, we started working on it together at some point. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad, though.
No, not bad. I mean, it wasn't that long. Like, I was only doing it for maybe a year or two before you jumped in.
Yeah. And then we got diagnosed. Well, I got diagnosed in 2018.
And I got not diagnosed in 2020.
So, like, 3 years ago. And then this year with the, that guy,
So
he's on my list.
There are 2 geneticists in our area. 2. One works for Kaiser, and she has Kaiser insurance. So she went to him. Or her. Is it her? Yeah. And she went through the steps, and there's new criteria. And because other siblings have the same symptoms, they said, yes, this is EDS. Plus every other criteria. You're like a 7 out of 9 on the Vitan scale.
Yep.
I'll explain that
I'm an
later.
8 out of 9 now.
Holy
my knee.
shiz.
Yeah. Because before it was just missing knees, and now this knee goes backwards.
So you're catching up. Mm-hmm. I'm a perfect 9.
You are.
Have you know. And my arms are just a little bit longer than most people. It's just a little
I know
bit better.
I have an inch between my 2. So I have about a half an inch extra.
But I was saying, she got diagnosed. Actually diagnosed.
Yep.
I had to wait to see the geneticist that would see, what was it, medic, one of the medics, AIDS?
Medicaid.
Yeah. I never know, because that's what I'm on, Medicaid. And he saw me, and he told me that I couldn't have it because no one in my family has it. Even though he brought her diagnosis in, he looked at it and went, oh, no, this doesn't count either, because they used you They used me
as
as
a
as
reference. Yeah.
But it's not like we lied and said
Right.
that I had it. They just understood that more than her have, like,
Yeah.
we have a bunch of
Well,
siblings.
and here's the thing. The criteria changed in, 2017?
Yeah.
And I was diagnosed 2018. Mm-hmm. So at that point, there was still that, like, kind of leniency period
Yeah.
in there. So my diagnosis is a solid diagnosis.
Yes.
And we have Ehlers Danlos syndrome.
All the reviews on this particular geneticist are really, really great until you get to the EDSers. Every EDSer that he's seen has a problem with him because he doesn't believe in it. Is
Well,
pretty
that's
much what
exactly it. And that's part of the problem is that people like to say that it's like a rare condition, and it's
not
not
that
rare.
No, Google thinks it's 1 in 5,000, but we've met enough people in our area to know that that's...
Yeah.
You run into them all the time.
I've diagnosed people or sent people on the road to. I had that friend I met in Vegas who, like, we literally met and I was like, oh my gosh, you're a zebra too. And she was like, oh my God, I thought I was crazy for years. And then a year later, her sister was diagnosed hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos.
Yep.
And so they know that that's what it is now.
My uncle-in-law, I was talking to him and he has all of the exact same symptoms as me. He's like, you should look into EDS because... Once you know, that changes everything. You'll know how to take care of yourself. They'll know what to do, know what not to do.
Right.
Because he's had to do a bunch of knee work and hips.
Oh.
And he's older than me, but not like super old.
Yeah.
And it's taken him out before.
Yep.
And I told him to look into it, but I don't know if he ever did. I hope he did.
And it's hard because, like, you learn not to believe yourself.
Yes.
Over years of medical neglect.
Mm-hmm. Still happens though. Mm-hmm. It's like you have
Constantly.
to reaffirm yourself that you have a problem.
Yep.
Because they won't. Most doctors will look at you and call you crazy.
Well, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier, where you have a good day and you're like, oh, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then your symptoms come back and you're like, oh no, this is what I've been dealing with. And because your brain has this really interesting way of blocking out pain or the memory of pain.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to remember it. You want to remember the good stuff, not the bad stuff.
Right. And your brain does it to protect you as a person and to, like, preserve you. But it's also not helpful when you're trying to, like, recall symptoms and explain what's going on.
We've both done the thing where you have to sit there and remember it the day after so that you can talk to your doctor about it or somebody.
Yeah.
Like, this is what happened. I remember it was like this. It felt like this. And
Well,
you
now
have
I've
to walk through it.
Yeah, I've taken to, like, texting you.
Yeah.
And saying, like, this is what's going on, so that I've said it out loud and it's in the air and, like, it's there so I can pull it back up and go, this is what happened 2 days ago.
I had a pain journal for a while.
Did you?
But it's hard to remember to do it.
Exactly, because it's, like, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the other part of, like, EDS pain. So we have that joint pain and, like, scar pain is horrible. And then you have, like, nerve pain.
Oh, God.
On top of it all. So you've got all this, like, chronic pain, and then you have injury pain that's daily.
I think that's a kid. Will you see?
It might be.
We can take a break. I can turn the AC on for a little bit.
Yes.
And cool it down in here.
It is getting a little warm.
Yeah, but it's not hot yet.
No, it's not.
I guess we're back.
Mm-hmm.
From outer space. I can't not
Didn't
say
we
it.
do this last time?
Yeah, I know. It's programmed into me.
We were back from outer space.
Jen does it.
Great. We had to cool the room down.
Yeah, and take a break. It's good, healthy.
Yeah.
Everyone hydrate. Hydrate now.
Drink water.
Yes.
Not coffee, water.
Well, I mean...
Do as I say, not as I do.
Well, I have a water bottle.
Ah.
Right. Anyway, we were talking about the comorbidities and the symptoms of EDS.
Yep.
We were talking about joints.
So let's talk early symptoms. What was, like, the first thing that went wrong for you?
It was my shoulder. I had a lot of eating problems. Mm-hmm. Like, I had a lot of digestive issues, like randomly not going to the bathroom for a week.
Yep.
Or only going to the bathroom every 5 minutes.
Or bleeding ulcers.
Or I had a bleeding ulcer. That's true. That's a thing that happened. My therapist tells me I have to reaffirm it because in my head it didn't happen. But it did.
But I'll remind you.
Thank you. That's seriously a thing I have to work on. That's my homework for the next 2 weeks.
Well, and it's funny because it's really similar. And I don't know, how old were you?
When I had the ulcer, I was 18. When my shoulder went bad, I was like 10.
Okay. So I had like knee problems leading up from young.
Yeah,
yeah.
you were
I was
way
probably
young.
like between 8 and 12 having knee problems, and then I had sciatica, which was horrible and awful, and I hated that. And then my shoulder went after the car accident, and then I kind of just after the car accident, everything kind of collapsed. So every culminating factor just kind of gave way, and it was horrible. But yeah, the digestive thing. Yes.
Especially
Same.
for you. You were accused of not eating all the time. You were bulimic?
No, I was anorexic. Yeah.
But she wasn't.
So I was told I was anorexic, and I was like, but it's not about being skinny, and it's not about, like, control. It's about, like, when I eat, it hurts.
Yeah.
Right? But eating felt like putting rocks in my stomach, and then I would throw it all back up. So I was like, this is not a fun thing, and I don't like doing it. So I would eat, like, bare minimum to stay alive.
Actually, first symptoms would have been diaphragm. That chest pain that we get
Oh,
when
yeah.
it clenches. I used to get that at a really young age, and it would
I
keep me
remember.
from breathing, and I thought I was having like a heart attack. Mm-hmm. That would be the first. I've had that since I was really little.
I remember sitting on the roof of
And
the
us
boathouse,
talking
and we
about
were
it.
talking about it. Yep. we were
It's true.
commiserating at that point too.
Commiserating.
Commiserating.
That's why it's called commiserating. You can miserate by yourself, or you can commiserate with a friend. Oh, we are related, by the way.
Indeed.
I'm just white.
And I am brown. We
come
know
in
our colors.
There's a spectrum for us. I mean, there really is.
It really is too, yeah. So we're both mixed.
Yeah.
We have the same dad, but different moms. Mm-hmm. My mom is Colombian.
Mine's Norse.
There you go.
I mean, that's her blood. She's very proud of it.
And that's why different colors.
Yeah. Well, and we go down. I think Jordan's lighter than you,
Yes.
right? So it's me, Jordan. I think,
Bug and I are the darkest.
yeah, Sarah, then Alex.
Sarah's pretty fair.
Yeah. So it'd be Sarah, Alex, and then you and Bug.
Yeah.
Like tied. Because you
Yeah.
and Bug are about the same.
Yep. And then we tan super dark in the summer.
I tan.
You do.
I look native, though.
Yeah.
I had friends in middle school that thought I was Native American because of how dark I was.
Because we get brown.
Yeah. You just get darker,
Well
though.
cooked.
Yeah, I don't burn. I mean, I do burn if I spend way too much time in the sun.
I think I've burned one time
Whoa,
total
lucky.
my whole life.
Side story. My friend Ben went to Deming with us once, and he got like sunburned
no.
so bad it was almost purple. Weird as shit. We put aloe on him. He was fine the next day. He was like a brown color, no more burn.
Weird.
Instantly. It was. He's like, that's my superpower, I guess. It was amazing.
It's a cool superpower to have.
Yeah.
Like cancer averted.
Well, he might have hypercancer because of it. We don't know.
Hypercancer.
Well, if he heals fast, he'll be like Deadpool, maybe.
It's like full blown cancer.
I have full-blown cancer. We have full-blown EDS.
Full blown EDS.
I've told my wife before that I have terminal EDS. It'll get me.
Unfortunately, let's address that.
Oh,
'Cause,
true.
yeah, EDS. So the type that we have is not the kind that lowers your life
No,
expectancy.
it just ruins your life expectancy.
Yes, so we get to be in pain for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like thinking about that.
No one does. I don't
Everyone's
sit around like,
you're gonna be old and blah
yes.
blah blah, and I'm like, I don't know. No, 60's good. I'm gonna like draw the line there.
I have the joints of an 80-year-old currently, so I don't really want to think about it.
Yeah.
But
Well, thank you.
what's it? Vascular
Vascular. Yep.
is the deadliest.
So with vascular's kind of like Marfan's, where if you make it to 30, it's good.
Right, because you could have like an aortic infarction. Mm-hmm. I think I said that right.
No, dissection.
Dissection. Well, they always check me for infarctions when I go in.
So I think infarction is
Like bulging.
electrical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, because I have like a messed up Q wave,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
thought it was an infarction.
That makes
So I
sense.
have like an electrical hole in my heart, like one piece that doesn't do stuff. I don't know. They were like, it's not important. It's not going to kill you. And I was like, okay, cool. Log that for later. Don't care.
They did the same thing with my intestines. They're like, oh, part of it doesn't function. That's fine.
Gastroparesis.
Well, yeah, well, it's called an ileus, the portion. Because it's just like, and it sucks. It's the large intestine, when it turns, it just doesn't work there. So it really hurts when I have to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
Like, a lot. Because it just sits there and you're like, come on, you can do it.
Yeah, so that the digestive thing, you get like So gastroparesis is one where your stomach just doesn't move or empty appropriately.
No, you'll sit on food for like days
Yep.
at a time.
and not digest it at the
Right.
same time. So you will have undigested food in your stomach for a long period of time.
Which is very nauseating.
And then you don't want to eat anything else because nothing's moving.
Yeah, it doesn't make you throw up usually, but you feel nauseated like when it's
Sometimes
sitting
you throw up. My favorite is throwing up food and being like, I ate that 3 days ago.
there. Yeah, that's how we found out about
That's
it.
really weird.
Right, like I haven't had
salmon.
I haven't had that food in like a week.
Right.
What the? I didn't eat last week. That's really weird.
Yep.
So that's a fun one.
Yeah.
And then you're having electrical issues.
Yep. So just overall, my something we think it's something in the peripheral nerves, so small fiber. We already know we have like neuropathy, nerve pain, and all of that yuck, right? So right now we're looking into movement disorders. We don't know what that will wind up being.
Well, and it's funny. It tracks with everything I've done because I've done the electrical studies, and they're like, well, it's odd, but
Yeah.
they were looking for why my arm was numb, and it wasn't full on
Right.
electrical cancel, but it wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
But they didn't look
and
into
I have super decreased
Yeah, right
reflex right here
I have that
and in the ankle.
through my arm right here.
So he's like, I think you're pinching something in your hip, but there's also other stuff going on. And that kind of leads into the dysautonomia aspect because we're on with neurology. Dysautonomia.
I have wonderful thyroid issues because of it.
So with dysautonomia, your autonomic nervous system is supposed to do your automatic functions, right? So,
It takes over when you're breathing.
yep.
It does all the heartbeats. It does everything. Except now everybody's manual breathing. Just thought I'd put that out there. It's my favorite thing to do. Now you're
Right.
manual breathing. Damn it, and he's
And you're
right.
doing it wrong.
Well, sometimes. Water. I need it so bad.
It's trying to escape.
Got it. I win.
Small victories.
What else is dysautonomic?
Your temperature.
Oh, yeah. We have wildly fluctuating
Yep.
temperatures.
So, and really bad, like, internal temperature control. So we have a hard time regulating our own body temperature.
Yeah.
So we'll spike a fever for 45 minutes, and then it'll pass.
I went to the CDC,
Really?
the Colorado Disease Control Center, because my temperature would fluctuate so bad at night. I would be running like temperatures of 101. And they were like, they went in and then they did all sorts of tests. It was
Yeah.
my first time to get a colonoscopy. Was with these people.
Oh, God.
And they didn't want to do it because they were like, you're just making it up. Because there was nothing wrong. They couldn't find anything in my
Yeah.
blood or in tissue.
That's the other part is with EDS, a lot of your results come back normal.
Yeah. That's the
Which
first thing
is
they do
so
is check the panels.
Incredibly stupid and so incredibly annoying when you're trying to find answers and they come back and they're like, nothing's wrong with you, bye.
Well, and
Instead
even-
of, this didn't turn up answers, let's try something else.
Right. You get passed off, basically. They're like, you should see this, but we can't like set it up for you or anything. You have to go find them. But even in diagnosing hypermobile, there's no markers. They look for
Yep.
markers of other EDS, like the harmful ones, because they have the protein identified, but they don't have it for hypermobile.
Yep.
So it's like you don't have vascular, but you have everything on the Beighton score.
Yep.
You have all of this other stuff. Your arm length, that was a fun one. I love that one. I beat the crap out of that.
Right? That one's fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's all clinical,
Yeah.
but you have to see a geneticist clinically.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing, like, you need somebody to look at it big picture. And if you're not looking at it big picture, you're going to miss it. And that's why it gets passed over as a diagnosis. Because, well, let's talk about zebras.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So why are we called zebras?
Because doctors are trained to look for horses, not zebras, when they hear hoofbeats, is the analogy.
Yes.
So when you're spiking a fever, or what's a good example of something that's...
So like stomach issues.
Right. They're
Yeah.
not going to think, oh, that sounds like an EDS problem. They're going to think,
Oh, it's GERD.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is...
Or reflux or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is. But...
the
you're-
cause is
Exactly.
coming from EDS.
Yep.
Yeah, it takes a lot of symptoms before they'll start putting it together. And even then,
Well, and even then, we had to self-diagnose before we could really diagnose.
thanks, YouTube.
Yeah. We had to do the research.
Well, yeah. No, but the first time I heard about it was on that. Was what's her name? Martina, not Martha. Martina. She
Oh,
lives in
yeah,
Japan,
yeah.
and she has it. And she was talking about it. I was like, that sounds awfully familiar. Because at the time we were thinking Marfan's. That was when
When
Bug was diagnosed with Marfan's.
wrongly
But he was
diagnosed.
by the same doctor who said I don't have EDS.
Yep. And he did a clinical diagnosis for Marfan's, which is not official
Right.
at all.
Because you can
And then
actually,
he gave him a clinical diagnosis of Marfan's
'cause
and
he
was like,
too young to
bye.
do the blood test.
Yeah.
Which would have said no.
Yep.
And then he would have had to think EDS, but he doesn't believe in it.
Right.
So I'm going to Kaiser. That's just how it is. I'm going to get that test.
Yeah.
It's going to be right.
Yep.
Because, I mean, they'll be like, here's your paper of my sister.
Right.
Check out my bite and score. It's just a little bit better. I'm just a little bit more bendy.
Well, let's talk about the Beighton score then.
Yeah, that's a good example. There are 9 criteria
Yep.
that you have to meet on the Beighton scale for flexibility, basically.
Yep.
Things that only EDSers should be able to do, or people with connective tissue, really.
So, along with EDS, there's also what's called hypermobility spectrum disorder.
Which is what I have.
Yep. And that is essentially undiagnosed EDS or something
other-
along that kind
yeah.
of train of line, but not quite as severe. But I don't like to use the word severe because
Right.
everybody experiences things differently.
Exactly.
So,
Spectrum.
yeah. Beighton score, you get points for meeting the criteria. So one of the criteria is,
Yay.
I don't know what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. But essentially putting your thumb to your wrist.
I'm
And you
swollen
get
and I can still do it.
1 point on each side.
I can go further. It looks like I'm shaking, like I'm doing it hard, but I'm not.
Well,
I
that's
can
just
go
because you
past.
have a tremor.
Yeah, I'm shaky
Yeah.
today.
So that's 2 points there.
Yeah.
And then you have your pinkies beyond 90 degrees.
Oh, is it really?
Beyond 90 degrees.
Oh,
there you
let's
go.
see. Here's 90. Wait, let's see if I can do it. 90?
I don't know. 90.
Oh, I don't know if I can go further. Look at that. Oh, no! I can go
Shrink
way
it.
further.
I broke this one, so I won't try because it hurts.
I just did the same thing on my one that broke. I was like, this one doesn't really go.
No, I don't do that on this one because that one
It does
broke.
hurt. That
and it was
hurts.
pretty bad. The
Boxer
next
break.
one is for elbows, right? So you get...
I like that yours popped really dramatically.
Did it?
Like,
The next one is for elbows, so hypermobility or
over
bendiness
15 degrees.
in the elbow.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we get a point on both sides. I don't even know if you can see that.
Yeah.
I think it's super gross.
Well,
I always just gross myself out doing it because I'm like, elbows are nasty.
yeah. Then there's the bending test.
Yep.
Touching the floor with the palm of your hands while keeping your legs straight.
Yep.
Which I don't want to do right now because it's going to hurt.
Well, and I just don't want to stand up, so
Yeah,
I'll show
sorry.
y'all later.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
And then knees.
Knees. Yep. So if your knees bend backwards, I think beyond 5.
Yeah.
Is it 5 or is it 10?
It,
I think it's 5.
mine go really far, so I don't know.
I don't know. So if your knees go backward to a degree or hyperextend to a degree, that's another 2
What's
points.
the last 2? Or is it 9?
It
It's
is 9.
What is the other one?
Because you have 9 out of 9.
Yeah, perfect.
And then perfectly fucked.
I'm perfectly classic, is what the doctors have said.
That's great. We're like, no, it's not actually classical, though.
Right. Well, they mean it like, I'm a good
Yeah,
example.
like, good example of...
What is the other one? Is it shoulders or something? No.
Yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 9.
That's
I
9.
can't count.
Math
My
is
brain
hard.
doesn't work.
Math is hard.
But yeah, that's the Beighton score. That's
Yep.
one of the 3 criteria, at least the old criteria,
Yeah.
to meet. That and having all of the comorbidity stuff that we were talking about.
Well,
Having
and then you
one
have,
or
like,
more.
dislocations over time,
Yeah.
chronic dislocations. Yeah, what are the other ones? And then having familial ties
Yeah,
with EDS.
that's really big.
Yeah.
Except that
Which
when a
is
first-time
stupid because if your
diagnosee-
whole family has it and your whole family is undiagnosed,
Yeah.
how are you going to get the first person diagnosed to get everybody else diagnosed? So the criteria is a little bit stupid, just in my opinion there.
What's the word I'm thinking of?
Which
My
one?
brain just shut off. I felt it go. Woo. Oh my god! I said it in my head. My mom says hi, by the way.
Hi, Mom.
She said she wants to adopt you.
She can. I have several. Well, my poor mother-in-law had to re-raise me.
Yeah.
She got this, like, feral, just traumatized shelter kid. She was like, great, I have this 17-year-old, 18-year-old who can't function. Yeah, she had to put in some legwork there. She did a very good job.
Oh, degenerative. That's how they chronicleize it. Degenerative joint disease. Chronic pain distinct from complication. Easy bruising, functional bowel disorders, cardiovascular, autonomic. We covered all of it.
Easy bruising. That's an interesting one because a lot of the time we don't bruise due to trauma.
Yeah, so
we'll
I
have
never
trauma
think I have it.
and then not bruise, but our veins explode.
Right. And it's funny because all of my bruising that really happens is on my back. Like Jen will go through and like clean my back off, and I have bruises that I've had for years.
Yeah.
That just don't go away.
It's just stained.
Right.
Yeah.
And I never think to say I'm bruising because it's not like if I go and hit my arm, I bruise.
I like to do.
I
just chronicle all of the bruising all the time, and I was blowing veins in my feet really bad. I think it's mostly gone now. Yeah, it looks much better. But I had this whole thing bruised right here. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Just because the veins blew up. And so I call them exertion bruises. And then other times
I was
they're
going to
just
say it's
bruises for
exertion
fun.
based, right? Like when you're using it, then the veins go, oh no, too much. And
Yep. Or they get pinched off by like
you
the
don't have
muscle
like
or
high
the
blood pressure
dislocation.
though.
I do on and off.
How high though?
Not very.
Because mine sits really high.
Mine used to until
Or it goes really low.
verapamil.
Oh yeah.
So verapamil
Same with me.
keeps
I'm
that
on
back.
lisinopril, so it stays low, but
Yeah.
I'm on the high end of low. I'm always like 130 over 80, which makes them happy.
Well, and I was 137 over 70.
Oh yeah, well I was 200 over 100 something once.
Jesus Christ, you died?
I went to the hospital. I was very concerned.
You're like, I'm dead. Oh no.
My heart was racing. I was like, and then my blood pressure spiked, and I was like, "What's going on?" Like I used my little kit, found out. I was like, do I need to go in? They're like, yes, you do. Something's not right.
That's my favorite. And then we go in and they're like, you're fine.
Yeah.
We're like, I don't feel fine.
Or like the time I had to go in and they gave me an angiogram.
Oh,
And they found like nothing, but they were like, something was there.
We moved it. It's gone
Am
now.
I dead? What? Should I be worried?
It's that same thing when they can't find the pulse.
Yeah.
You're like, deficient. And you're like, I don't know. I'm probably pinching off major nerves all the time.
Yeah.
And major blood vessels all the time. By bending ways that we shouldn't.
No bendy.
All the bendy.
All the time.
Yeah.
24/7.
Bug and I got together the other day. And we were doing the shoulder blade thing.
Oh,
pull
yeah.
it all to the center. Ugh.
Yeah, that's so unhealthy though. Like I naturally sit with my shoulders pulled in. Like, let's see if they can touch. That should be a criteria. There's got to be a way that they can measure. Because even when I did my first surgery pre-EDS diagnosis, the PT guy, Chris, who's really cool, was like, your range of motion is ridiculous. You're supposed to have 180. You have like 200 something. And I was like, yeah, well. He thought I played baseball. He was like, were you a pitcher?
Nope.
Did you ever throw? Like,
Nope.
No. I sailed.
Yeah.
Which isn't really a throwing motion.
We're just weird that way.
Yeah.
And then we get a lot of muscle pain because being hypermobile is really stupid.
Yes.
And then your muscles have to compensate for the really crappy job that your
They
tendons and
learn
ligaments
how
do.
to function wrong.
Exactly. So when I like work with my personal trainer, all the time she's like, you're flexing all the wrong muscles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't even find the muscles you're talking about because I've never had to activate
They've
them.
atrophied to the point where you can't use them
Yeah.
almost.
I'm like, I
'Cause
don't
there's
even know what muscles those
the
are.
back muscle, right? There was something in between your
Yeah.
shoulder blades that you couldn't.
But I have such great range of motion, I can get there without using them.
Right. So you're like, do this. You're like, okay, I can do it.
Yeah. So I can do it. I'm just not using the correct muscles.
I'll do it my way.
Exactly.
I don't have to listen to you.
Bodies are dumb.
Yeah. I agree. We just need to get robot bodies and we'll be fine.
Yes. This one is broken. I do not want it anymore.
That's about it, right?
Yeah,
That's EDS in a nutshell.
pretty much. There are other things, but there's always going to be other things.
Well,
So EDS is kind of this crazy umbrella
Right.
with all of the nonsense under it.
They'll pop up as we go. I'm sure we'll have a week where it's like, oh, hey, I remember this thing. This thing sucks this week. So we'll see.
Indeed.
But that's it.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Well,
Maybe. Hopefully.
hopefully.
We'll see.
Hopefully it was educational. kind of. Or at least the people
We
who have
just
EDS will go,
meandered.
that.
Yep.
It's yes. And they're not like, those two are fucking nuts. So, see everyone later.
Yeah. We'll try to have an agenda for...
We have agendas that we're trying to push. So we'll have one ready next week.
We like the gays.
She's not wrong.
That's where I'm at. There we go.
We'll leave on that note.
All right.
Bye to the gays.